Favorite quotes about the Bible comes from William Sloane Coffin, who said that the Bible is not a book of orthodoxy, it's a book of paradoxy. Well, what does that mean? It means that too many cooks spoil the broth, and many hands make light work. Which one is true? Well, both are true, of course. The Bible is a book of wisdom, and we have in the Bible, we have a wonderful story of creation that we all learned as children in Genesis, right? We know the story of creation, 7 days. And if you hear that someone will do a Bible study on the environment, well, I see many clergy out there. You've heard Bible studies before on Genesis and the hope of changing sort of this control of the environment to stewardship, that we're responsible. And there is wonderful, good stuff in Genesis to work with. But we need to remember that the Bible has other stories of creation in it as well. Psalm 8, Psalm 104, Isaiah 35, all have accounts of creation. Today, though, I want to uplift, oddly enough, or perhaps poignantly enough, our lectionary text this morning from the book of Job. Job is a wonderful, wonderful creation story in verses 38 through 41. So if you write anything down, write down Job 38 through 41 and go and read this text. You'll know some of it. God responds to Job's complaint. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched out the line upon it? On what were its bases sunk? Or who laid the cornerstones when the morning stars sang together and when the heavenly beings shouted for joy? This reading, as it continues, goes on and talks about creation in a way that makes humans, you and I, humanity, not the center of the story. That we may enjoy the beauty of creation, but that we're not absolutely central to it, that we get to see the world through God's eyes, or glimpse the world through God's eyes. And so it is my hope that congregations will start thinking about the wonderful diversity of creation in the Bible, and particularly uplifting these traditions like Job that show that we might better be humbler in our approach to the world. That God, where were you? This is bigger than just you. And that ought to be part of our faith and part of our scholarship and our discernment. And obviously I think that solarizing and trying to figure out ways to live in humbler, simpler, less destructive ways are part of this tradition that the church needs to balance. Too many hands make light work, and too many cooks spoil the broth. Both are true. But it is true, I hope you believe, that we need to find ways in our scripture that are there that remind us how we should be humble. Humble in the midst of our environment, in all that God has created. And so, you've got some homework. Remember Job 38 through 41. If you want a little scholarly assignment as well, Catherine Schindecker's book, Out of the Whirlwind, Creation Theology in Job, is well worth checking out. And with that, I will turn over the mic.